Learn to code the slow way. An article by Lane Wagner, and I was watching the PrimeMachine reaction video to this and I immediately paused it. This article was basically a sponsored article on his channel, and I didn't want to watch his reaction because I thought I could react first and then watch his reaction video, which is better than mine because he has more subscribers and works at Netflix, you know. I mean, he has more flex. It is what it is. But let me just read it. Let me just share my thoughts to it, and I will just watch the video off camera and see how he's better than me. Okay, so learn to code the slow way. I can see this is going to be really great. I feel like I'm going to agree a lot of the thoughts in this article. So ever since starting boot.dev, this is this website, I've been flooded with what I call quicksand questions. On the surface, a quicksand question seems like a good question. If you could answer it, it would catapult you from where you are, night shift set one is driving, to where you want to be. Telling friends that you work at Netflix, by the way. So it's a reference to the PrimeMachine. Okay. The quicksand questions are all about finding shortcuts. I need a developer job in 3 months. What's the best way to do that? I've seen you laid out 20 courses in your backend learning path, but which ones can I skip? You know, I wanna just jump into the good ones. You know, I wanna skip them. I don't need it. I know that. I will just figure it out. You know. Yeah, this is how we think, and it's so bad. What's wrong with shortcuts? Now, I want to be clear. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to take a shorter path towards your career goal. Yeah, that's human nature. Anything else would be insanity. If there was a pill to turn you into a senior developer overnight, I would encourage you to pop that sucker. Of course. Of course. In theory, educational minimaxing seems like a solid strategy, but in practice it just doesn't work. Why? Because the destination is unknown. That's very well put. Dijkstra's algorithm is great. Great if you know where you're going. If you don't, you need something else. The Dijkstra, I don't know how to. I know in my language I don't know how Dijkstra. I don't know how it's pronounced in English. It's a way to finding shortest paths between nodes in graphs. So that's what he means by that. I don't want to look fancy, you know. You can just Google that, but I just wanted to save you Google. Sue me, don't sue me. No one knows where they're going. The tech scene is a cluster, of complexity. I learned like 10 different programming languages in college, and even 3 years into my degree, I still didn't know that I end up working as a backend engineer writing Go. Oh, he's writing Go, okay. I interviewed for all sorts of nonsense, from embedded systems to front-end development. Yeah, it turns out that my Prolog class didn't help much in my first interview, but you know what? It didn't hurt. And now when someone says it's a declarative system, my facial expression doesn't betray ignorance. It's a declarative system. I know this. See, when you heard it somewhere, so the language doesn't really matter. If you know exactly which concepts you need to master past your first interview, then you might be able to find an effective shortcut. The trouble is, there is no precise subset of knowledge that will always be enough to pass every possible first interview. Every company has its own janky tech stack. Yeah. Every PM has their own version of Agile. Every hiring manager has their own 7-step interview process. Oh god. Every job requires different bits of arcane knowledge. You have no idea what you'll be doing that day to day at your first job when you're standing to learn the code. I hear people say things like, I never use my DSA skills at work. And upon further inspection, it turns out they're a WordPress developer. Oh, it sort of hurts. I'm sort of a WordPress developer. You know, what can I do? It was kind of there. It's like, you know, it grew on me. But this is what I see a lot of times when someone is asking me questions and they run some sort of company and they just can't figure out some very basic stuff. And when they start an email like, I'm a WordPress developer, but I can't figure out this and that. All right, it's fine. I don't have problems with that. I'm more than happy to help anyone at no charge. Like, if I can, I do it. But there's some sort of a issue people calling themselves developers, you know. I have like maybe 16, 17, 18 years of experience, and I forget a lot. I've coded in Java, in C, in whatever, and I couldn't write a single letter of it because I haven't been doing that for 10 years. You know, you forget. But if I took a few weeks to refresh my knowledge, I probably could jump back into that seat. And even all of this time, I have very hard time to call myself or introduce myself as a developer, because as the time passes, I just figure that I know less and less and less and less, and that's kind of how it should be, and it kind of freaks me out every time. You know, I see so many young people being so talented, and they're just bossing, they just know what they're doing. But you know, as the time passes and you like accumulate all of this, just learn one language and the second and the third and on the fourth, and you know, it just kind of explodes in your head a little bit and it just creates this mush. So it's always easier to make something new in an empty canvas. You know, when you don't know coding and you just jump into it, you can learn all of the basic stuff really quickly, but then it just starts to accumulate, and then it's like, yeah, then it becomes a problem. And stating that you're like a WordPress developer as me, and it's not the problem, you know, to being a WordPress developer. The problem is when you think that that's where it ends. You know, you should never do that. I am a WordPress developer, which in in programming terms means that I'm automatically not a developer. I'm not a programmer. WordPress developers are not the programmers. You know, that's a common saying. But you know, I had my past. I learned a lot of stuff before jumping into it, and you can be a good WordPress developer and you can be also a very bad WordPress developer. But thinking that the WordPress or whatever, the PHP or whatever behind it is the end of the world, it's no. I know it's just a meme, but I do know some very, very good WordPress developers who are good at maybe 8 or 9, 10 different languages. And I had a boss where I first was introduced to all of this, and we weren't working at WordPress at the time, and he was a very, very, very good programmer. I mean, you just show him something, in the next day he knew, like he knew everything. I just couldn't understand. He had this very good intuition for coding, you know. So some people can process a lot of information very quickly and they have a good understanding. And I had to figure out why. How is that possible? And the answer is very, very simple. He had years of experience, but he didn't take it fast. You know, he learned all the nooks and crannies and every single detail. And when he saw something new, he was like, oh, okay, I've seen this in this other language, and it just kind of worked out. So yeah, don't be a WordPress developer. Don't, and I don't mean that literally. I mean that metaphorically. Don't be a typical WordPress developer. That's not good for you. So I shouldn't be interested in the shortest path. You should. It's not where you think you'll find it. The shortest path to a job as a programmer doesn't involve minimizing the amount of things you need to learn and build. That sort of thinking results in much longer, more mentally exhausting journey. Something like this. Jump directly into a web framework, probably Next.js, since you're basic. Find you have talent building to-do apps. Okay, realize you can't build a hello world without a tutorial. Yep. Attempt to remedy that by doing more tutorials. Read on Twitter that actually Rust is the best language. Admit defeat and the hands of the borrowed Decker. Repeat steps 1 4 n times, where n is okay. The shortest path, or at least shortest path, usually looks like this. Learn core programming CS concepts in some language. Tentatively decide the kind of programming you want to do. Front-end, back-end, mobile, servers, whatever, doesn't matter. Just decide. Learn the fundamentals of that kind of programming in technologies well suited for it. Never stop learning and building while you search for a job. And I can't agree with this more. So, you know, I was doing this. Well, but back in my time, because I'm old, it wasn't the to-do apps, but it was a little bit different. We did all kinds of stuff. You downloaded the latest whatever. You imported an example project. Okay, you know, I can do that. Yeah, I can extend this and that, but you have no understanding of the underlying programming techniques. You know nothing, and you just jumped into the high waters without like learning, and you're just stuck in this never-ending loop of like finding the answers to all of the simplest questions. Whereas what he recommends is that you could just learn some of the concepts, even though you might think they're dumb, they're not dumb, and then just try something, you know, just, okay, I'm just gonna try front end, you know, I'm gonna learn some fundamentals. I'm gonna say front end web development. I'm gonna learn some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. No need for Next or React or jQuery or whatever. Don't start with that. It's no, just don't. And then when you have some basic understanding of what's happening and you can do some basic stuff, then you just build yourself up a little bit, and this is going to take time, but it's still going to take less time than all around this Googling process. And I get a lot of emails from clients that they want to do this and do that and do this and do that, and they just, my developer did this code, and I just look at the code and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, the developer. No, it's not a developer. He's seen some sort of a example of whatever, he did this, and he thinks he's a developer. No, he can't even do a function with 5 lines correctly. How is he a developer? He's not. He's just a WordPress developer, you know. You need to learn the basics. Okay, don't get me wrong, the second part still isn't short. Programming isn't easy. Sorry if you were told it was. But if you're willing to put in an effort, you can avoid an aimless stroll through the 9 circle of tutorial hell. Yes, don't be scared of work. Folks spend eons trying to find the shortest learning path, or trying to avoid learning things that they'll never use again. They're fine wasting months of years learning absolutely nothing to avoid any unnecessary work. Why not bite the bullet and risk spending a few days learning something that's not directly applicable to the job you'll eventually land? That's what I'm saying as well. You know, some of the programming fundamentals may seem like stupid, and what's that? And why would I need to know quicksort? You know, why? It's not that you need to know. You know, you can always look it up. But if you haven't seen it, haven't used it, haven't tried to write it, you will never recognize if what you're using or trying to use is incorrect. And quicksort is just an example. You know, it applies to every single principle. You know, you need to go step by step. And when you look back and when you try to like concat your application through all of these packages, you can at least like tell that this one's good, this one's garbage, I'm not gonna use that. You just evolve this critical way of thinking and distinguishing good from the bad. That's very, very important. Let's be the 1 billion trillion % honest. Some folks are looking for a good old-fashioned get-rich-quick scheme. After a few weeks of struggling with loops, they'll give up and purchase an AI-powered crypto trading bot on Fiverr. Don't be like those folks. Yep. Becoming a software engineer is not getting rich quick scheme. It's a get upper middle class slow scheme. Yeah. The trick to making it, you have to actually get good. So I need to stop here just again for just a little bit. If you're trying to learn code to get quick, like get rich quick or get to the middle class, upper middle class slow, you're already doing it wrong. I don't mind you want to earn money. Everyone wants to earn money. It's better to earn money coding and sitting in your conveniently sitting in your office than working at Wendy's. I get that, but I would encourage you to find something interesting on what you're doing, because eventually you're just going to feel that you're still working at that Wendy's. You know, because you're gonna get comfortable. And you know, you're gonna still feel like you're working, and that's what everyone sort of wants to avoid. And if you find coding interesting, that's going to benefit you greatly. So instead of copy pasting haphazardly from Stack Overflow to fix the next error you encounter, take the extra minutes to figure out what it means. It can begin tell you how many PRs are reviewed that fix something, but or just a patch because they've never groped the underlying problem. Okay, for example, xJavaDev is always a Java that finds that sometimes this function in Go panics. Okay, send mail, email error. Okay, send email, sends an email, but sometimes panics. Okay, then go straight to Google and find that panicking in Go can be solved with a recover. So they open a full request. Okay, I don't know how to. Disclaimer, I don't know how to code in Go, but I will try to understand what's going on here. Okay, so we have this send mail, and then we just gonna differ. I think that means like some sort of asynchronous whatever. If we recover, then it's not a recover from panic in send mail. Okay, this kind of works, but better developer would try to understand and fix the underlying problem in the code. They would add nil checks or just stop using pointers altogether in this function. Aha. Okay. You want to have a bias toward becoming better, not reaching the end. There isn't an end. There's just too much there to learn. That's what I said earlier, that this is never ending. If you think that I just learned this and it's over, I'm gonna just get in the big box, I'm gonna retire and be DiCaprio money. No, you never. That's not how it works. If you wanna code, you must accept that you're going to learn until you die. That's how it is. And if you don't enjoy that, you're just not a programmer. Just don't do it. I'm sorry. It's going to cost you a lot of painful days, and I don't want that. No, I want you to feel good. So the scope of all the software engineering is larger than the scope of last program's global namespace. It's not the advice you wanted. Yeah, getting fit, giving up addiction, building a business, and yes, getting your first dev jobs are hard. Don't make it harder on yourself by wasting your time searching for shortcuts. Learn evergreen foundation stuff, build projects that interest you, and you'll be amazed how far you can get in just a year or two of consistent effort. Very good. Very, very good advice. I think I can agree. Unfortunately, I don't fully understand this code, what he meant, but I'm not a Go programmer, but I guess it's something to do with like an error check. I think the panic function means in Go that there was some sort of an error thrown and you just want to recover from it and just continue or something like that. It doesn't matter. What he tries to say here, that you sometimes, instead of like quick fixing something, you need to rethink it again and just maybe find a different solution that works better. Yeah, very, very good article. Round of applause to you, man. I love it. I love it. Every single word of it. I can't agree more. Very good. And yeah, I highly suggest for every single wannabe coder, maybe you are in high school right now, maybe you are thinking about becoming a programmer, please just read this again. Maybe my video wasn't enough to convince you that this isn't about the money. This is not about getting rich. This is not about just do the job and just dip. It's not about that. It's an everlasting journey of learning, and it keeps getting harder. I can say that to you in certainty, because when I started, different things were very popular, except for maybe Java and C, because that remained. But there are like 5-10 different languages which are no longer used at this very point. So, but that doesn't mean that your programming skills are going to just fade away. There's certainly going to be hard times. It is certainly very hard to keep up, but what you know in your head mostly stays there. It's just sometimes it just gets blended a little bit with too much stuff going on. But if you take it slow, that's the best advice. That's the very best advice. And don't try to be the best programmer out there. Don't try to be the next whoever. It's not a good approach. Take it slow. Find what's good for you. It's not about landing the job. It's not about that. Eventually you're going to land the job. If you're a good programmer, you are going to land the job and fine. But someone has to do that job. after you landed it goes on and it goes on and on and on. So yeah, again, very, very good article. I think this website is a gold mine. So if you want to subscribe, maybe he has some sort of courses. Yeah. So based on this only, I would say that this guy probably has very good courses on this website. So I can recommend it wholeheartedly. And by that, this is the end of the video. I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe. That's your job. Mine is to entertain you with some content. I hope you liked the video, and I see you in the next one. Goodbye.